Discovery class. So good to see you again. Our topic today is entitled Working Till Quitting Time. My church was a farm church. Didn't make a lot of money in those days. So I supplemented my income by working at an electrical motor manufacturing plant. It was located in an industrial district in an area called Chemical Valley. Huge companies grew up side by side. Imperial Oil, Sunoco and Shell refineries, Dow Chemical, Polymer, Fiberglass, Cabot Carbon, on and on they stretched. They're all located on the St. Clair River. They're in southwestern Ontario. My job was to drive a stake truck, delivering new electrical motors to those plants. Our shop opened at 7 a.m. in the morning, and they quit at 5 p.m. in the afternoon. Work began at 7 with a loud blast from the alarm horn. At 5 o'clock, the same horn let out a resounding blast that could be heard all over the shop. Quitting time was fun to watch. Everyone stayed in their stations. There was never any rush to the exits. I was often late getting back to the shop because of traffic or delays in picking up my product. And our company made heavy industrial electrical motors. They were 300 to 500 horsepower, and they weighed something like 2 to 3 tons. When I delivered a new motor, I'd bring back the replacement to be recycled in our plant so that they could be reused again. That was really the job of the plant. We used tons and tons of copper wire to rewind those motors. One Friday night, the owner of the plant was waiting to greet my arrival back from delivery. He said, "I've been watching you, Kernahan. I can see that you're a man who can be trusted. I'm giving you the keys of the front door, and those keys that you have in your pocket from the truck, you keep them. I want you to understand that in our business, new motors to their destination is the primary concern of our company. And I want to make this job as easy as I can for you because quitting time comes very quickly around here, and I want to be flexible to you. I can see that our success depends highly on men like you, and that quitting time horn, when it blasts, I want you to know that you're not going to be under watch because I can trust you that you will stay until quitting time." Well, I thought about that as I grew older. That's been a long, long time ago now. But its sound, that blast has filled my mind many times. Whatever it was then is still there right now. I can still hear it in the afternoons as the afternoon wears on, and I can look at my watch to see, I wonder if it's near 5 o'clock now. Why am I telling you this? Many have been asking me in the midst of this worldwide pandemic, are we getting near quitting time? Is the Lord coming back? Is there going to be a 5 p.m. horn blast? Are we going to see him? We that remain are going to be caught up together with him to meet him in the air? All I'm saying is, I can trust you that you'll always be ready until quitting time. That's what the owner of that plant said to me, and this is what I'm going to ask of you. Are you ready to keep working until quitting time? Have you thought about quitting time? Put another way, have you thought about being caught up or caught off guard that I've been so busy in my daily routines that your mind suddenly flashes to the idea that the Lord might come right after 6 o'clock news, or maybe right in the middle of The Price is Right, or Jeopardy. he may return before bedtime tonight. You think about it. Today could be the last day on earth. It's quitting time. In today's lesson, I want to show you what Jesus said about quitting time. In all four Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, did you know that Jesus spoke about quitting time? I'm going to take you there, and I'm going to take you on a journey through each one of those Gospels, and I'm going to show you what he said. And he's going to be speaking about being ready. I'll begin with Matthew, and then I'll end with John. Here we go. Matthew chapter 24, verse 42 and 43. Therefore, said Jesus, be on the alert, for you don't know which day your Lord is coming. But be sure of this, that if the head of the house had known at what time in the night that the thief was coming, he would have been on the alert, and he would not have allowed his house to be broken into. I've never had my house broken into. Have you? I don't have any alarm system out on the front lawn saying that I'm already wired for that to happen. If the thief breaks in to my house, I've always asked, what's he going to get? My house is full of hand-me-downs. There's really nothing of value in my house. I shop with Mary at the dollar store. Do I need to tell you anything more? Jesus isn't talking so much about value here in this passage. He's talking about a thief's successful entrance, unexpected, and an exit undetected. That's Jesus' point. My coming will be like a thief in the night. And when you least expect it, I'll come. From this statement, Jesus applies it to his return. If you drop down to verse 44, he says, for this reason, you be ready too, for the Son of Man is coming at an hour when you don't think that he'll come. Work till quitting time. That's what Matthew is saying. Okay, let's move over secondly to the Gospel of Mark. Listen to Jesus' words, chapter 13, verse 33. Take heed. Keep on the alert, for you do not know when the appointed time is. It's like a man away on a journey, who upon leaving his house and putting his slaves in charge, assigning to each one his tasks, also commanded the doorkeeper to stay on the alert. Therefore, be on the alert, for you don't know when the master of the house is coming back, whether in the evening, whether at midnight, or at the cock crowing, or in the morning, lest he come suddenly and find you asleep. And what I say to you, I say to all who are listening to me, be on the alert. Did any of you have chickens on the farm? I can still hear the trumpet sound from that old rooster before daybreak. There was never an early morning that rooster had a sabbatical. He never took a day off. I don't ever remember my rooster having laryngitis. He never had a sore throat. It was getting louder and louder the older he got. Now, says Jesus, at the cock crowing, he knew exactly what was going on in the hen house. Now, our nights today in Calgary are not divided as they were in Jesus' time. First century nights were divided into watches. There were 4 3-hour watches, to be exact. The first watch began at sundown around 6 p.m. and it ended at 9 p.m. The second watch continued from 9 p.m. till midnight, 12 o'clock. And the third watch occurred from 12 o'clock midnight until 3 o'clock in the morning. And then from 3 in the morning till 6 in the morning was the fourth watch. Now at the end of the third watch, there was a Latin term they used to describe it. It was called Gallicinium. Can you say that word? Try it. Gallicinium. Yeah, that's right. It meant cock crowing. The rooster crowed. It probably got its name from some old rooster rising early, stretching his neck out, sounding his first call around 3 in the morning. Can you imagine Christ coming back in the middle of a Gallicinium? Cock crowing. At dawn. In the misty morning. Just around sunrise. What Mark is saying, it could be any time. Work till quitting time is what I'm saying. All right, I told you Mark, followed by what we just learned in Matthew. Now listen to what the third gospel says about quitting time. I'm talking about Luke. Not only is Jesus coming back, but we must be ready. Listen to what Luke 21, verse 34 says. Be on guard, that your hearts may not be weighted down with dissipation and drunkenness and the worries of life. And that day comes on you suddenly, just like a trap. Man, is that ever different? Matthew used the analogy of a thief. Mark used the analogy of a rooster crowing. Luke, in this passage, uses the term trap. He's saying if you're trapped in an embarrassing setting, if you're trapped full of worry, if you're trapped and you're drunk, be ready. Because your lifestyle is setting you up that you're not going to be ready at quitting time. Luke goes on in verse 35 and 36, and he says further, he says, for it will come upon all those who dwell on the face of the earth, but keep on the alert at all times, praying, in order that you may have strength to escape all these things that are about to take place. Luke was a doctor. He handled emergencies all day long, like all doctors do. And he never knew what was coming in the door of his patients. He maybe needed to do some suturing. Maybe he needed to take a temperature check and see if his temperature is high. Maybe he had a bad cough and he was almost asthmatic. Luke knew everything about an emergency. Well, here he is talking about don't get trapped. Because in that trap, you may find Jesus is going to come and it's quitting time. Finally, there's a fourth gospel, and I'm talking about John. Many years later, at the end of the first century, John records his observations. He tells of what Jesus said in the upper room the night before he died. Jesus is with the 12. The night before his famous arrest. Everything's going to happen just a few minutes after what he's going to say here. Now you picture yourself there. I'm there, you're there. You're one of his disciples. Jesus is going to unveil the truth. He tells them, tonight I'm going to die. The disciples are caught off guard. And so would you be. As a matter of fact, they're all shaken. And why not? They followed him. They picked up where they left their fishermen's nets, and they followed him. He's been with them for 3 years. Now, they followed him because they were assured that he was going to live forever. He was going to establish a kingdom. He was going to take us with him to that kingdom. He was going to become King of Kings and Lord of Lords, and he was going to rule over the whole earth. What's he saying here? He's going to die? Has my 3 years following him been in vain? Suddenly, there's a new game plan. Jesus introduces the cross, full of turmoil. Their minds are full of doubt. Their minds are full of fear. The 12 disciples stare ahead, and they're stunned in amazement. And then Jesus utters these beautiful, rewarding words. He's going to talk about his return. Here's what I call his quitting time discourse. John 14, verse 1 and 3. Let not your hearts be troubled. You believe in God? I want you to believe in me. In my Father's house are many mansions, dwelling places. I'm going there to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and I'm going to receive you to myself, that where I am, there you may be also. What was Jesus saying? He's making a promise. If you're expecting me, and I hope you will, I'm coming back. Jesus went on to say in John 16, verse 33, these things I have spoken to you, that in me you may have peace. In the world you've got tribulation, but take courage. I have overcome the world. Jesus said, I will soon complete my mission. I must go to the cross, and I'm going to pay the penalty for sin. I'll come out of the grave victorious. I will ascend to the Father, and I will come for you again at an appointed time. In the meantime, stay ready until quitting time. Have any of you ever owned a house? You've probably owned one and you paid a mortgage and you paid it off. Do you know that the title for that house is in the land titles office? The land titles office for southern Alberta is from Red Deer all the way down to the American border. All the titles for all the land in that jurisdiction is down there on 7th Avenue at the land titles office. Did you know that as a Christian, you have a house waiting for you? Has that ever occurred to you? Jesus said, I'm going to prepare a place for you. He said, I'm preparing mansions. Can you imagine what your house is going to look like when you cross the border? Does that ever get you excited? It should. Because if you're renting, maybe you're a street person, maybe you're a high school student, maybe you're a university student listening to my discovery class. You've got your whole world ahead of you, and you're probably full of all kinds of questions. Where am I going to live? How am I going to live? What's my house going to be like that I live in? Jesus said, when you cross the border as a believer in me, I have something waiting for you that you can't imagine. Eye hasn't seen, nor ear heard, nor has it been declared into the life of man the things that I have in store for you when I next see you. My words to you, Discovery class, stay occupied until quitting time, because you've got something very special coming. Well, that's enough for today. I've been closing my Discovery classes with a word from the sunny side of the street. Here's a joke for you. A young man said to his dad, "Dad, prom time is coming up after my grade 12 graduation, and I would like to take a girl to the prom. But I don't know what to do. Could you help me?" The dad said, "I think I can. Son, I want you to take the car. You go to the young lady's house and introduce yourself and be a gentleman. Thank the family over there for letting you take their daughter out to the prom. Ask them what time you'd like to have their daughter home. And then present the daughter with a nice boutonniere to match her little dress that she's chosen. I want you to leave properly, go to the prom, but you be sure to be home on time. And when you get home, lead her as a gentleman up by the arm, up to the step in front of the door, and I want you to thank her for a lovely evening. And when you thank her, after that, I'd like you to kiss her gently on the forehead." And the young man said to his dad, "Is that it?" The dad said, "Yeah, that's it." Well, the night of the prom came, and that's what he did. All those things that Dad had instructed, he did. He went to the house, met the parents, put on the boutonniere. "What time would you like your daughter home?" 11 o'clock, I'll be back. Back they went. They had a lovely, lovely time at the prom. He watched his watch. He was home right on time, took her up to the step, and then he said to her, "I want to thank you for a lovely evening." And he kissed her gently on the forehead. But when he did that, she looked at him and said, with a little flutter in her heart, "Do you think you could do that again, only this time a little lower?" And she closed her eyes and went like this. He said, "Well, I'll try." So he stood up straight and cleared his throat. "I want to thank you for a lovely evening." Okay, that's enough of that. Will I see you next week? I'll look for you. So good of you to come today. Bye for now.